What is meant by the indefectibility of the Catholic Church?
By the indefectibility of the Catholic Church is meant that the Church, as Christ founded it, will last until the end of time.
The Archangel Gabriel announced to Mary that Christ shall be king over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Luke chapter 1 verse 32 to 33.
Christ meant his church to endure to the end of the world. It is to be indestructible and unchanging, to possess indefectibility. He came to save all men. Those to live in future ages needed salvation as much as the people of apostolic times.
Christ said to Peter, "Upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Matthew chapter 16 verse 18.
Christ promises here that the church would be assailed always, but never overcome. This promise of our Lord has been proved for almost 2,000 years by the facts of history. Not one of the persecutors of the church has prevailed over it. On the contrary, many of them have come to a fearful end. There will always be popes, bishops, and laity to compose the church. The truths taught by our Lord will always be found in his church.
After telling his apostles to teach all nations, Christ said, "Behold, I am with you all days, even unto the consummation of the world." Matthew 28 verse 20. As the apostles were not to live to the end of the world, Christ must have been addressing them as representatives of the perpetual church.
The apostles themselves understood Christ to mean that his church should endure. After organizing Christian communities, they appointed successors in their place to live after them and carry on the church.
Christ intended the church to remain as he founded it, to preserve the whole of what he taught, and the shining marks which he gave it in the beginning. If the church lost any of the qualities that God gave it, it could not be said to be indefectible, because it would not be the same institution. Indefectibility implies unchangeability.
Because of its indefectibility, the truth revealed by God will always be taught in the Catholic Church. Saint Ambrose said, "The Church is like the moon. It may wane but never be destroyed. It may be darkness, but it can never disappear."
Saint Anselm said that the bark of the church may be swept by the waves, but it can never sink, because Christ is there. When the church is in greatest need, Christ comes to its help by miracles, or by raising up saintly men to strengthen and purify it. It is the bark of Peter. When the storm threatens to sink it, the Lord awakens from his sleep and commands the winds and the waves into calm. Peace, be still.
Has the Catholic Church actually proved itself indefectible? The Catholic Church has throughout its long history proved itself indefectible against all kinds of attack from within and without, against every persecution and every heresy and schism.
As its founder was persecuted, so the Catholic Church has been and ever will be persecuted. You will be brought before governors and kings for my sake. Matthew chapter 10 verse 18.
Matthew chapter 10 verse 22. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake.
Matthew chapter 10 verse 24. No disciple is above his teacher, nor is the servant above his master.
Mark chapter 13 verse 9. They will deliver you up to councils, and you will beat them in the synagogues.
Luke chapter 21 verse 12. They will arrest you and persecute you. The church survived 300 years of incredible persecution under pagan Rome. Of the 33 popes that ruled before the Edict of Milan, 30 died as martyrs. That mighty empire, with its colossal strength, before whose standardizations failed, could not kill the infant church or stop its progress. In a short time, the popes were ruling where the imperial Caesars had issued edicts against the Christian church.
Then for 2 centuries hordes of barbarians swept upon civilized Europe, destroying the old Roman Empire. The Church not only survived, but converted and civilized the barbarians.
Not only non-Christians, but its own rebellious children have persecuted the church. From the beginning, heresy has attacked it from within, and still the church lives, greater than ever, changeless and indefectible.
The long history of the Catholic Church is attended by schism and heresy, but each attack has only strengthened it. It has continued to live and spread in spite of everything and everybody.
The church is the bride of Christ, cast into prison, starved, thrown to the beast, trampled underfoot, hacked, tortured, crucified, and burned. But this fair bride emerged from it all in the bloom and freshness of youth, serene, calm, and immortal.